Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to start digging into software exploitation. And in this bite-sized video, we are going to cover the generalities of buffer overflow, where we're taking advantage of a function that does no checking or bounds checking and receiving string data. So I got a simple program written up here to let us illustrate. So let's jump in. We got the source code right here, and let's just go buffer overflow here. And as you see, we're going to be, we have a main function. We have a function that we're not actually supposed to be able to access. We don't have any function calls in here. But as we're going to see, because this buffer char buff 16, we're using gets, and gets doesn't do any bounds checking. And you'll see here in a second how we can actually manipulate the data that we input such that when this data gets put onto the stack, we can manipulate it such that we actually give this address here and we'll be able to get access granted. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So we're going to clear this out. We're going to get back. We do have a binary that's already been compiled, and one of these videos that I'm going to link to, I'll show you the command, the compiler command that we can able to disable any of the protections, etc., that are going on. But without further ado, this video is focused in on very simple buffer overflow and illustrating that we can access portions of a program that were never intended to. I like to jump right in with GDB. So let's just say that we're given this binary by itself, and I'll go through the methodology that I typically go through if I'm just given a black box type of assignment, for lack of a better term. Now, I've also included Gef in here, or Jeff, how it's pronounced, and this really is a handy function. So with Jeff, let's just, again, black box, we're going to do info function. And with info function, that drops us into being able to look at what functions are in the binary. So we have our main and nothing here. All these others, when you start to really take a look and dig into this, you'll be able to realize what's usually in there: puts, printf, gets. But interestingly, I see that we have a main and we have nothing here, and we do have an address with nothing here. So that's something that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go in my other screen here, and we're going to be using pawn tools, and that's another great, fantastic tool. But let's just, I'll be linking a video to how to install pawn tools and utilizing it. But let's just say buffer1.py. And I like to import pawn, from pawn import star, so we don't have to put pawn in before each of the different methods. One of the things that I will just say right here is, okay, we have an address, and that's going to be probably something of interest that we want to jump to here shortly. So I'm just going to set this in, and it's this address for nothing here. So let's just comment nothing here, address. All right. So we're moving along here. We don't have everything that we quite need yet. We suspect that there is a buffer overflow problem, and so let's just, I like to throw a break on main. So we're going to hit this breakpoint, and we're going to hit run. So let's just hit run and see it's going on here. And again, really sweet items with Jeff, or I'm mispronouncing it, Jeff, here is that you're going to see the stack. You're going to see the code. We're breaking in main. This is the first main piece here. We have the stack. That's going to become useful in videos coming up where we're throwing, manipulating data, throwing shellcode onto the stack and executing it. But we also have all of our different buffers here. Registers that showing what their current value is once we hit that breakpoint. And it says it stopped because we hit our breakpoint. And the way that we're going to check to see how this buffer, if it truly is a buffer overflow and we need to find an offset and all that fun stuff, we're going to do in Jeff and GDB pattern create. All right, so this is a unique pattern that we're just going to copy, and it defaults to 1024 bytes, and so we're going to then go ahead and I'm going to say continue. All right, so this continues. It's asking us for entering data. We paste that in, and let's see what happens when we paste in, because this is obviously over 16 bytes. And buffer, and if we're gonna have a buffer overflow, this is gonna show it. And wow, we do. Segmentation fault is essentially what this means. It stopped. And again, looking at the stack here, we see there's a buffer overflow. We see that we're having quite a bit of registers being filled up, buffers filled up. So let's just grab a couple of bytes here, because what we're going to do is see what that offset is. What is, when we throw this data, all this data that extends past the 16 bytes, there's some other material in there as well that we'll see, but when this gets generated, we're going to see that we want to find out what this offset is. And so we just can do pattern offset, and what this does, it goes and searches and it says, oh, this found us at offset 24. Well, that's fantastic. So that's an added material right there of offset, and what we're going to do is put that as 24. Again, this is our pawn tools. This is what we're going to be able to utilize and go ahead and make sure that we have a lot of stuff that's going on in being able to really dive in. And so let's start building our further building our script here. Now it's going to, we go back and we're going to be able to connect this to a process. This is something here in Pawn Tools that we'll definitely want to be getting into, but we're going to have to connect it to the binary here. And the binary, of course, is, let me just quit here, and it's buffer overflow 1.bin. And we are going to go ahead and p.send line, and what we're doing here is it's going to ask us for our data. It says enter data, if we remember, and we're going to just automatically go ahead and send it, and we're going to send it A, and we want to actually put this as byte A because this is Python 3, and happy to go over that in another video if those are interested. But we have, we're sending, I have the offset here, so I might as well use the offset variable. Now we want to use what's in Pawn Tools is this packer, which is a excellent little packing that packs the bytes correctly to send it, and it's just a very fantastic little item that we want to get used to, and we can go into a little bit more. But then we want to do p interactive here. And so what we have gathered here is that we needed to know, hey, is there a function that we want to get to that we could use for being manipulated? And it's that function we're trying to get to nothing here because, hey, we're not supposed to be here. And we found that the offset, based upon our pattern create and then finding out what the offset is, and so we are going to be sending in the number of bytes such that it gets filled up to right towards that top of the stack, and then we're going to throw in the address so that our register RIP will then eventually point to the address that we want, and it'll actually jump to it. And so what we're doing is we're manipulating the stack such that we're being able to put an instruction such that the register RIP, next time it decides to take a look at something, it'll take this address and jump to it for us into that function that we're not supposed to. So we're manipulating, changing, and really going into a lot of potentially cool stuff here. So let's save that and let's give it a try. Let's see what happens if we go ahead and, oh, it worked. As you can see, and again, we have the access to this Buffer Overflow .c, and as you can see, based upon that, we sent the data, we put in the address for nothing here, and that jumps us into this function where it says, oh, access granted, welcome. We would not have been able to do that if we just ran the program, put in data, whatever the case may be. So this was an example of how classic buffer overflow worked, where you can manipulate the data such that you can reach functions that you're not supposed to. Hit the like and subscribe button, because I'm going to be jumping into stack canaries or cookies, additional mitigation techniques that are being implemented. So if you want to continue on this path of learning software exploitation, hit that like and that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Until next time, peace out. Thanks.